Hello everybody, and welcome to the Labyrinth of Limitations. This is another little labyrinth, and for this one I am going to share an exercise that I think is beautiful sounding and is helpful for familiarizing yourself with the shapes. Again, so I think part of the push of this transformation kind of theory thing we've been doing with the guitar as a computer is to get ourselves to not just move like, so this is like F minor 6, so not just moving in parallel motion and not just moving through the scale like that, but it'll really help us out if we can see. I like the idea of staying in connection here. So even if I was, just looking at F minor 6 in that way, where kind of similar to transforming like that kind of thing, going from root to 6 in the bass that we've talked about, but just staying here, but staying in position and seeing everything I can see. So I have a drop 2, I have drop 2 and 4, I have drop 3, I have this with the 5th in the bass, a drop 2, and all that stuff is available to me. See, right? And then whoops, there we go. Don't do that one up there that often. But all of these voicings I want to see, that's just all F minor 6. So similar. That kind of stuff. So I want to see these motions throughout a scale. So here's the exercise. So it sounds like this. I'm going to go through the family in this position, but I'm going to do a big move before I do it. So I'm going to go do a big move on B flat minor 6, and then I'm going to go and put the 6 in the bass, so that I'm essentially transposing up a minor 3rd, but I'm staying in position. So I have to go one interscalar step downwards from root in the bass to 6 in the bass. Like we talked about. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through the family, but before I move to the next family member, I do this. Here's my drop 2. So I take the bottom 3 notes. So that's a move that I like to do a lot, that I've talked to you guys about to get familiar with things and just because it's pretty. Broken chord, go to a dyad that's diminished inside of that, because I'm seeing this as a 3rd, which means I can go out to a 5th, right, and then to a 6. So now I've arrived at a broken chord that is the top part of that same drop 2. I'm going to go out to a full, instead of dyads, I'm going to go out to a full octave. Like that. So what I did there was I went, broken chord, octave chord, out to a drop 2. So I did that contrary motion through the elevator, went up a diminished note, and then matched this next note with a broken chord underneath it, octave chord. You can see that as a drop 2. And then I go back to the beginning. I did a 3-note borrowing, which is what we talked about in episode 3 of the Big Labyrinth, taking the elevator to borrow from the neighbors. It lets you take 3 notes, 2 in one direction and 1 in the other, generally, by borrowing from the floor of the elevator right below you. In this case, I know that if I went from this drop 2 and made my outer voices go inward, I'll go to an octave chord, I take the top 3 of the notes of that chord and put it on top of that bass note and then resolve. And that is taking the elevator to borrow from the neighbors. So I'm doing it at the end. So it's like... Now I'm going to go around the family, and so I'm going to go to the 6 in the bass, and I'm thinking about, when I do this, what note goes upwards. I think that's pretty to kind of emphasize that, and it makes me aware of the chords. So I went I'm going to do the same thing here. So this is 6 in the bass, 3rd, 5th, and root. So I'm going to go, right, and then I'm going to go to fifth in the bass, so I know that my bass has to go up because it's always wherever the fifth is that the note goes up. So, right, so, and this is fifth, root, third, and sixth. So what I'm thinking here is that this is the root, and I'm going to take my, and I'm going to just view this little broken chord, then view this as a third to a fifth, and that's my diminished notes, the major seventh of the diminished, and the fourth in really, of the scale. So I go, that's my little dyad there, so I could do it like that. And then I have to go. And now I'm going to go around the circle one more, around the family. So instead of the fifth in the bass, I'm going to have the third in the bass. So, and then what goes up is where the fifth is of the chord, right? Because this is third, sixth, root, and fifth. So now I have to go, right? So it's pretty. So the full thing then is, and then I go, the bass. So and so on. So that is that type of movement, just going up from the bottom to the top of the strings. And you could do this in all kinds of ways, I mean, you could just go up and commit to something like this is just, I'm just going to go up and find thirds. You see what I mean? I'm only going to find thirds of the sixth chord. So then, so those are stuff like that, just seeing in this position. And then I guess that would be the way to do it. So, and then, just moving up and down the neck and seeing various things is really powerful and will help us to kind of see connections. So, and you'll hear me, I mean, I do these kinds of things a lot when I'm playing, like anything. I do a lot of that kind of motion because I find it really fun, and there's so many ways to do it. So anyway, I hope that has been interesting for you guys. That's the exercise, and you could do your own variants and come up with your own ways of seeing your scales of chords as you just go up the neck and see those connections, but I think that's a nice one. So I'm going up, I do a little dyads, I do broken chords. That one covers broken chords, some drop two, drop two, broken chords, dyads, and octave chords, or what are happening there. You could do any number of things with that kind of thinking. You could start from drop 3 or drop 2 and 4 and see what kinds of motions you might have. Right? stuff like that you might find just moving between in the same way, starting from drop 2 and 4. Anyway, thanks so much, and there'll be more to come, and keep on practicing.